Hey everybody, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra, back again with Ask Chief Executive Officer Stephanie. And today on Suck Less Saturday, I want to talk to you about knocking the rust off on your next range trip and not being ashamed that maybe you haven't shot as much as you'd like to, just getting out there and sucking less. You need a shot timer because that which gets measured gets worked on. The Range Tech Timer is the official timer of Active Self-Protection because it is versatile, reliable, feature-rich, and very economical. Check out all it can do at the link below. So this is a personal stuff. I think people think all the time that everybody at Active Self-Protection gets to shoot all the time. I get to shoot a lot because I make a lot of content here for the channel, and I take a lot of classes and I teach a lot of classes, so I get to shoot a lot. Neil, your husband, our CMO, he gets to shoot a lot.
Right.
You don't get to shoot so much.
I really don't, and I didn't before this last year. I was able to keep up and do okay and be competent. And then this last year, the wheels just completely fell off to the point that we built a range on our property to help mitigate that from this point forward. But for the last year, it's been difficult between medical issues with the family, staffing issues at the business here, just difficulties kind of everywhere. It has really kept me off the range. It's kept me, you can always say some of it's excuses, and it is. But and some of it's justified. It's real. And it is. And it's real, and I know it doesn't just happen to me because I talk to people all the time. And then you have this difficult thing. Here I am, I at one point was a really competent shooter. I run a shooting business. And I'm struggling because I have not been shooting for a long time. So what do you do? That's the question I get asked a lot. And part of that is you have to be willing to embrace that suck and suck. And just work to suck less. Absolutely. Nobody else cares. Right? So nobody cares. It's very true. In fact, I think in general people are cheering you on because I'm not the only one that this has happened to, that this isn't, it's difficult. You'd be like, I don't know that I want to take that class because I have to show up at the class as the CEO of Active Self-Protection and fail and not do well, and everyone's going to see it, and yet that's exactly what you have to do. And you have to be willing to fail, to be embarrassed, to be whatever that takes in order to get better, because this is important. And being competent, being skilled, is important to me for our business, but it's also important to me as a mom and to be able to defend myself and my family. So, of course, we are going to say your number one thing to do is dry fire, right? So, work your dry fire. We're not talking about coming to the range to go, oh, okay, the only place we can recover skill is at the range. Just the opposite. Dry fire is life. 90% of your shooting work should be in dry practice, all right? We got a bajillion videos on the channel about dry practice. You know, almost weekly. Almost every single week. Almost every single week. But today we're out on the range here at C2 Tactical in Scottsdale 338 Club. So we've got a couple of drills that I want to help Stephanie work through. We've got some B8 targets up here. These are our NRA B8s. I love me some B8s because the rings don't lie. And also we're going to use the Mantis a little bit because the numbers don't lie. Right. So here's what we're going to do today. In order to suck less, whether you are somebody who is coming back from not shooting a whole lot in the last year, or you're somebody who shoots quite a bit, we are going to work on just a couple of drills to knock the rust off and to check grip is the master, sights at the pace, trigger is the servant. First one we're going to work on, we're going to set a benchmark with the X10. So a Mantis benchmark, simple stuff. You have all day, you're going to grip that firearm as much as you can, drive the sights out, keep that muzzle as still as you possibly can, 10 shots slow fire. You get a score after each one. At the end, you get an average of your 10 shots. Our goal, a really good shooter in live fire, I mean a really good shooter, should be able to keep it above 90 in live fire, because when you add the recoil and those things, boy, a very competent shooter should be able to keep this at about 80 in over 10 shots. So if you can keep it over 80 in 10 shots, I would say you're a very competent shooter. What they found, what we tend to find, is that you got about an inch of deviation at 7 yards for every 10 points. So if you're, if you're shooting a 90 at 7 yards, you probably got a circle that's about 2 inches around because you got an inch of deviation anyway from your point of aim. So that's like, oh, I don't know, you can shoot a 50 on a dot torture at 7 yards, you're a pretty darn fine shooter. Right? Okay, you're pretty okay, all right? You've made it, my friend. You've made it, my friend. So we're gonna let Stephanie shoot this first. I'll shoot it afterwards, just to see again from somebody who's coming back and knocking off some rust, somebody who is checking their fundamentals again to get going on their next session, and see how it goes. Okay, Steph, 10 shots. Take your time now. Grip is the master. Pressure straight back with the trigger. Taking your time.
Very good. Okay. Safely, yeah, just put that gun down. Let's take a look at the benchmark numbers here. And the thing that I see here, again, an 85.6. What did we say? I mean, gosh, after not shooting a whole lot for a year in live fire, and I know some people are like, well, I get a 94 all the time on my on my dry fire. That's true, but do it live fire, it's a different world, right? So one of the things that we see here, man, you started super strong, just had a couple in there that, you know, a couple that were 70s, 3 of them that dropped into the 70s, but a mid 80s score there, and you know what that is? You probably felt them too, didn't you?
I did. I'm sure it was that one right there that I felt. And then I slowed down for the other two, and yeah.
And, you know, got what you needed. Now let's go look at the target. One of the things that I think you'll see.
I have my glasses on, but it looks left.
No, I mean, so that could be sights, that could be a couple of things. We could look at every shot too and see if you're actually trending left. But, I mean, friends, that's good, right? That's a perfectly good target. Ain't nobody gonna complain about that.
No.
But we can look and see on your individual shots here what our trend line looks like in terms of, okay, so here's shot one. So what you can see on shot one is there is just a ever so slightly leftward push there. That's the yellow, right, that we're looking at. Number 2, I think that's a fantastic shot. That's why you got a 92, right? Again, over 90, really great, tiny slightward left. But here we got a left and low, right? So there's where that showed up, is that at the very end there, a little bit of low left push, which is a righty. Usually means I need more pinky pressure, right?
Yep.
Again, it's almost a 90. It's a really good shot. Just a little bit of downward pressure. Same thing here. Tiny bit of downward pressure.
Some right here, I readjusted my grip. You could see it.
Yeah, you can see that kind of big blue, like meh.
Yep. And it's, took a couple of good shots, and then all of a sudden I feel like it's coming away from me.
Mid 80s. That 79 again. A little bit of downward push at the very end, and that's about it. And again, so a great shot there. And a good left push at the very end.
You know what I love about this though? You can look at a target like that and that looks great. Like that looks really good. Like you said, nobody's gonna look at me at the range and think why she hasn't shot in months and months and months, which is true. However, you start looking at this and you get actual information for each shot. I can see what's going on, and this is super informative to let you know what's, you can't really lie to yourself when you're looking at numbers and the lines that your gun drew.
That's what it did. All right, let's see how I do. Oh man, don't screw this up, Korea. Big thing for me here. I'm not competing with Stephanie right now, okay? If you show up, no, I don't think it's wrong to compete with a friend and have a good time.
We do it a lot.
Yeah, we do it all the time. Neil and I especially, right? The infinitude gobbler. But that's not what we're doing here, all right? All we're doing here is I am practicing me. I am seeing where my grip, my sights, my trigger are in live fire and seeing how high a score I can score. I've put the target out a little farther. I'm gonna challenge myself on that. I'm running my Holliston with a 32-minute circle only. We'll see how John does today, see if he can grip, sights, and trigger his way to a good score. Oh, let's see, here we go. Okay, all right, I like that. That feels good to me. We're gonna start. All right. Now, big thing here, grip is the master. Pressure. All right, with that. Oh, there's a little bit of push. Yep, and you can see the difference in the score. Tiniest bit of push there. Oh gosh, man, I held and held and held and held and held and held and held. Okay, all right. 5 more to go.
It's not a competition.
Okay, feel good about that. Let's run it in. So, a 95.5 average benchmark in live fire. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm really glad I was filming that. Because I don't know that I'm gonna do a whole lot better than that. So 95.5, 91.1, you notice I said that on my second one. I was like, man, just the tiniest bit of downward push here. 98.6, 97.6, 98.1, 94.7, 95.1, 94.6, 94.9, 94.5. Friends, I gotta be honest with you, anything above 95 is the tiniest little bits of things, and I don't think I'm gonna do a whole lot better than a 95.5 live fire benchmark. Let's just look at my shots here real quick. So you notice on this one, the yellow is what I'm really interested in. Blue is before the shot. Yellow is the 150 milliseconds of the shot. Red, I'm not working recoil control here too much, is the immediate break after the shot, okay? So a little up and right there. You saw that little curly cue. What did I say on that second shot? A little bit of push on that. That's exactly what I got. Man, that's just a perfect shot, number 3. I mean, I can't argue with that. Nice and still. 4 even. I feel like 4. See, here's the interesting thing. Look, 98.6 versus 97.6. I would call that a better shot. I'd call that a stiller muzzle, for gracious sakes. Again, dead still here at 98.1. Had a lot of lift there because I came off the gun at the end of that shot. Again, same thing here, 95.1, tiny bit of leftward push. I mean, these ones, guys, you can see all that. That number 9, which is just a tiny bit lower, a bit of rightward push there, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so we'll stop that. Now, let's look at my target. Okay, so what you guys see there is that's a 10-yard target for me. Okay, I got no problems with that. Right. So I think that's a great way to start to knock some rust off is a benchmark, but I got one more for us to do today to have a little bit of fun. All right. The other one that we're gonna work on today, just to, again, suck less, is the one thing that we do in live fire that we can't do in dry fire is recoil. We get recoil on the gun, so we wanna check our recoil analysis and see what it's doing for us. All we're gonna do here is we are going to fire 10 shots with no speed component, but our goal here is all the pinky grip that we can get. Then as we see the sights, what we wanna do is break the shot, recover the trigger, and recover the sights. Okay. So all I'm trying to do here is see the shot, let it break, recover, see my sights again. Break, recover, see my sights again, okay? And again, we can do this 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots if we wanted to, but I think especially as we knock the rust off using the recoil meter on our Mantis X10, it really gives us good information, tells us what our muzzle is doing. So let's each do it. So the other part of this is as you recover it, is that we're looking at how the gun recoils. So we aren't gonna get a score out of this one on the Mantis. What it's gonna give us though is the way that our sights rise. It'll tell us how much they rise. It'll tell us what our width is. So if the gun is moving around left and right, it'll tell us all that. It gives us just this beautiful trace drawing of what's going on. So what I'm going to suggest that you do on this one is that you drive that first one out there. When you press the trigger, as soon as I have my sight picture back again, because I've recovered my trigger and recovered my sights, once I have enough sights to get to my target again, let it fly. Okay. There's no reason to wait. And we'll each do that for 2 shots. See what it gives us.
So we're not necessarily going for speed, but as fast as you can.
No, but so there's no reason to wait.
Yes,
no reason to wait.
Exactly.
All right, your recoil meter is good. Let me get that to record. Go ahead.
How many shots?
So you're gonna do 10, right? You got 10 in the mag.
Yeah.
So again, you're gripping hard, grip is a master, sights at the pace, trigger is a servant. As soon as you get on it again. Okay, let's talk subjective. How did you feel like your sights were moving?
The first went okay. Probably not great or what I would want if I was working, but okay. And the last 3 or 4 probably I could start to see the movement.
See a little waviness?
There was probably more than I will be happy with in the first ones, but subjectively it was very obvious by the end.
Well, let's see what we have here, shall we? So your recovery time average is 0.35 seconds. So you are getting a full back to a stable sight picture in 0.35, which I don't think is a problem at all. That's actually really good for most people. That's quite nice. Okay, let's look at our shots here. So we had a real good, you can see this side picture that kind of, again, it comes up and then edges right just a little bit, right? But that's okay, as long as it's predictable.
Down, so I'm happy with that.
Same thing here, but a much smaller. Notice your muzzle rise here only 9 degrees. I'm gonna tell you, you know what that says? That says you got a very good grip. Your muzzle rise is quite minimal there. You know, and again, so here, one of the things that we see is a little up and then it settled back lefter than it was, which for you probably means a little extra grip pressure. Same thing here is that your support hand is probably at this point shot number 4 easing off the gun a little bit.
Very likely.
You know, but and again, looking nice and consistent here, number 5. See that same thing, 6, man, a 7-degree muzzle rise. Good night, girl.
Actually, I'm surprised. I felt like there was a lot more movement in that. That's not too bad.
Not bad at all. And you look here, so your muzzle rise was a little high on this 9th one, and that's gonna happen, right? But again, settling okay. And you know what? We almost all do this on the last shot. We kind of give it up at the end. And we're like, oh, last shot, bang, blah, you know, do what you want. And that's a very good spot. You just rose a little higher because you were kind of done. Yeah. All right, my turn. here we go. Recoil meter. All right. So there's no sense in being timid here. Okay, I feel pretty good about it.
You're a lot faster than me.
Well, again, you know, I get to shoot a lot more than you do.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, that experience does that. Practice teaches you that.
So now if we look, Stephanie's group here is a little better than mine, right? So I step out of the way so you can see it. Stephanie's group there is a little bit better than mine. Now mine was farther than hers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. And
faster.
I'm gonna tell you I'm mad about the 8. I'm just gonna tell you I'm mad about the 8 ring. Why? Because that's the way my brain works. Gosh darn it! But let's look at what my stuff did. So that first one there, a very small muzzle rise. I think it looked great. My recovery time there, it said it was a little bit long because I'm like, okay, what is it doing? Feel very good here about what this is doing. As a left-hander, it's settling right back, kind of right where I want it. Again, recovery time there ridiculously fast. Like that gun recovered super fast, came back, did exactly what I wanted to do. A 5-degree muzzle rise there, I'm pretty okay with. Because I was shooting moderately quickly, right? So a 5-degree muzzle rise with a 2-degree muzzle width of recoil, great, feeling good about that. And again, so these are all, I got no problems at all. Of course, the last one I just came off the gun. I'm done. That's what happened on the last one. I was like, phew, okay, I'm done. But I feel pretty good about that, right? So guess what? In 20 rounds, we've seen how still can we keep the gun when I need to make a good shot, and how good is my grip, and then how can I keep that grip and reset my gun quickly. I think we've knocked off a good bit of rust, and now we can just shoot for fun and have a good time. So next time that you need to knock off a little bit of rust, I think this is a good way that you can suck less, and you don't even have to do what Stephanie did and do it in front of an international audience of 180,000 people.
Pressure's a good thing, though.
Super proud of you.
Thank you.